Hi, I'm Elizabeth Payne Madalena. I'm joined here by my colleague Amber Orr. We are attorneys here at Berenzweig Leonard, and we are here to talk about a hot news topic, coronavirus, and specifically some tips for businesses, how they can and should prepare for this issue, but also not engage in the panic that seems to be gripping some areas. Before we jump into everything, just want to know, Amber, are you a doctor?
I am not that I'm aware of, at least.
And neither am I. We're not medical professionals. This is not about medical advice. We're not giving anything like that. Please pay attention to the CDC and your local health authorities for any advice on specific issues with the medical and health aspects of this. Throughout the United States, there are some things all businesses can be doing to prepare right now, especially when it comes to helping to protect their workforce. I think the most important thing is, encouraging good hygiene practices at the office, right?
Yeah.
Making sure employees have the ability to wash their hands with soap and water. Hand sanitizer works too, but it's not as great. But it still works, so you can put those things out. Lysol wipes or cleaning supplies so employees can wipe down spaces. It's always helpful. I've also seen some mentions of community candy jars. While they're great for that mid-afternoon snack and sugar rush, not exactly great when it comes to helping to prevent the spread of diseases. People tend to reach in, and sometimes they haven't washed their hands. Can be kind of gross. So maybe putting those away for the time being and avoiding any buffet-style food service or food options for employees to just kind of help make sure that there's nothing being spread that way.
Yeah, and especially since the symptoms are like the cold and the flu, we kind of don't know what's going on and what it is exactly. What would your advice be to businesses when we're not sure? We might not feel good. An employee may not feel good. What should they do in that situation?
Employers should definitely be taking this time to remind employees of their sick leave policies or pay time off policies, and really encourage your employees that if they are not feeling well, especially if they have a fever, the CDC says 100.4 degrees Fahrenheit is the threshold, to stay home. That's the most important thing. Stay home to help prevent the spread. This is something that seems to spread very quickly and easily. So the best prevention is anyone who's not feeling well should be encouraged to stay home. Employers can also use this as a really good opportunity to help build goodwill with their employees by, if an employee, for example, God forbid, tests positive for coronavirus and has to be put into a quarantine, maybe giving them some extra PTO or telework options that wouldn't impact vacation time to help encourage that employee to stay home for the entire quarantine, and also make employees feel appreciated and feel like their employer cares about them. That's always a good thing for morale.
Yeah.
But this is really business, like office place oriented. What about customer facing businesses like gyms, Amber? What do you think they can do?
Yeah, so I've seen a lot of businesses that interface with their clients daily, send out emails that they're waiving their cancellation policy. So they're reinforcing, if you don't feel good, stay at home. It's okay. Get better. And then also you mentioned sick leave policies. There's a lot of employment law considerations that are going into effect because of the coronavirus. And something that everyone should be mindful of course, sick leave. DC and Maryland have a required sick leave under the law. Make sure your policies and procedures comply with those requirements. And then also there's a lot of EEOC implications that can be involved in regards to disparate treatment based on national origin. So if you do have an employee that traveled overseas recently to one of the affected areas and they come back, you can ask them to stay at home and work and telework, but you should also kind of apply that across the board to everyone so you're fair and not singling anyone out.
Right. I think not singling people out is important. There's been some unfortunate reports of that kind of stuff happening, and certainly employers should make sure they're putting the kibosh on that. What about, HIPAA issues or, revealing if someone is sick and an employee is sick, employers, should they be doing something to protect that employee's identity or not reveal who that is to others in the workplace?
Yes, because, you have to treat medical information as confidential. And if an employee is sick, instead of giving that employee's name out, it's probably best practices to general statement to the company, letting people know that, there may have been an outbreak and the next steps to take, but do not reveal the identity of that employee.
Now, can you stop an employee, can an employer stop an employee from traveling?
No, they can't stop them from traveling. Instead, the employer and employee should come together and try to, work out an agreement for the both parties.
And, employers, they can also, in this situation, if the employer is the reason for an employee having to travel, I know a lot of conferences have already been canceled, so that may take care of that. But if it's for business meetings, employers can always try to really encourage employees to find solutions that would circumvent needing to travel, such as video conferencing. There's a lot of tools out there now that allow that to be done. Again, it's just about helping to keep your workforce safe and not being the reason why they may have to go and potentially expose themselves depending on where they'd be traveling to. Now, we've mentioned a couple of times telework.
Yeah.
And I think that is going to be a big part for those employers that can and businesses that can do that. That's going to be a big part of helping to mitigate and prevent any serious losses if there is some situation that would require them to close their offices, their physical offices. Telework policies, now would be the time, right, for an employer to put those things together, I'd imagine. Making sure that there's a plan in place for talking to employees, talking to and communicating what those plans are, when telework only would go into effect, how you're going to let your customers, your clients know. But not every employer can do telework. That certainly isn't realistic for everyone. And so those employers may want to figure out what their plans are, what their options are, how they're going to handle that. It's just better to be prepared, right? Rather than...
Of course. And, go back, look at your policies and procedures, see what's there and see what's missing so you can cover that gap.
Yeah. So these were all good bits of information and tips for businesses to consider. We just want everyone to be safe, erring on the side of caution and being prepared, but not panicking. If you have specific questions or concerns, especially on the legal aspects of some of these issues, we are here to help. Please contact us at berenzweiglaw.com.